What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today. So after all of my track building videos finished, I noticed a little bit of an influx of like supercross slash arena cross tracks on MXB mods, which was to be expected, to be fair, because there's not really many tutorials for outdoors tracks at the moment. I mean, there's no templates and stuff. It's all freehand. So with supercross, I find it's a lot more beginner friendly when it comes to track creation. And I've had a little bit of an ego boost after the last week or so when I go and look at tracks and I see them specifically like putting my name in the credits and saying thank you for the videos. So I thought, since there's been quite a lot of tracks being released and there's been quite a few mentioning my name and saying thank you, etc., I thought it'd be quite nice just to go through and try them all out. Now, I'm well aware a bunch of these are all first releases. We have 5 in total. I've even called the, oh, you can't see it behind my head, I've called the bike category Ego, because it does inflate my ego a little bit. I love seeing my name appear on things. So we've got 5 tracks in here in total today, and we're going to go through each and every one. And I'm only going to spin 3-4 laps on each because they all look like fairly short tracks. Some of them, like, look, this one looks really impressive right here. This is created by OT. He said this is a track that he said he started building before, and then the videos kind of re-sparked or got the juices flowing a little bit, you could say. And then we've got some like very, very first tracks in here. And I'm very excited to see how they ride, most importantly, and how they kind of stack up against other first tracks in the game. So without further ado, we're going to start with this one, first of all, the ATR SX Amateur Compound, and let's get into it. For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe. Okie dokie. So what we have here, first track of the day, is created by OT, and this is the ATR Racing Amateur SX Compound. And he writes in the description here, this is his first track release, which is to be expected with a lot of these tracks. He's made a few attempts at track building in the past following various tutorials, but was never happy with anything that he created. Lin's recently released a series of tutorials which re-sparked my creative juices and thought I'd give it another go. Track is geared towards beginner slash intermediate level riders with only a few hundred hours in the game, and he wanted to create a kind of like Minio style supercross track, which we have here. So we're going to see how this track rides, and looking at the track map, not a huge track by any means, like fairly straightforward. So I'm going to go into first person, so I'm actually try and do this a little bit of justice as well, and we will see how it goes. And it's always very, very nice, very easy whip section. Okay, so very, very straightforward, very beginner friendly, like I mentioned. It's very nice seeing people that I see in my chat all the time giving track building a go and just seeing regular names. There's something quite heartwarming about it. It almost gives you like happy or proud parent energy, I should say, if that's a weird thing to say, from one grown man to another grown man, which I know that OT is. Gives me proud dad energy, seeing people making their first tracks. Right, big step onto the right, little step off, round to the right here, hit the yah-yee. I've noticed that he's got some high spots on his jump faces, so the jump face, that triple back there, and even the landing on the left hand side, he's gone through the effort of creating high and low spots, which I think is very, very cool. The masking, actually not too bad at all. Masking looks pretty damn good. There's a nice level of unevenness across the surface of the track, so it's not all just one flat colour. He's even gone to the effort of making custom bales. So I think, does that say, is that C-Star? C-Star Nutrition over there. The ATR Racing bales here. We've got the semi over to the left of the screen, the semi truck that's all custom too. So he's taken a lot of time and a lot of effort with this. It's really, really good to see. Like bale placement all looks pretty good. Everything's lined up nicely. There's nothing floating all over the place. I mean, that time board's floating there, but who cares? It's very it's nice and easy to see where it is rather than having to try and spot it out the corner of your eye. We've got a couple of different little rhythm lanes here. I will say that these triples are absolutely huge. So if you are slightly newer to the game and you're a predominant 250 rider, let's say, you might struggle with those. Probably best to go all the way around the outside rather than trying any inside lines. I like that we've got little inside rollers, so you can go step on and off if you want to. Yeah, careful, up and over that. The only thing that I can see right now that I think could be improved straight away is some of the inside ruts. They are more like mounds at the moment. Timing works, just looking up the top left there. My lap times are counting no problem at all, which I know is another thing that people on their first track or two do have a lot of problem with, is creating their timing gates and stuff, and just getting them in a nice order that all works straightforwards. But so far, very nice and flowy. It's very bright. It's pleasing on the eye as well. See, I'm running reshade right now anyway. Should I turn my reshade off? There you go. See, it's a little bit darker. Nothing too crazy. I like running it on anyway. And then he's got his few trees dotted around here and there. And in terms of file size, I don't think it was a massive track by any means. That's something that you'll kind of improve upon the more tracks you build, is finding ways to optimize your tracks. Something that I'm not good at whatsoever. I mean, I had an arena cross track that was like 700 megabytes for crying out loud, which is absolutely huge. I mean, JV's outdoor tracks are like 400 at most a lot of the time. So to have a small arena cross track that is almost double the size of a full-fledged MXGP track, not too impressive. So I know that's something that I need to improve on as well. I actually currently have one arena cross track done, which is the one that you saw me doing the track building tutorials on. Just haven't got around to uploading it yet. And then I have one more to do, and then that's all of my arena cross tracks finished, and I can move on to some outdoor stuff from there. But this has been a very, very, very good start. I even like the transition that he's got from on track to off track on the grass too. And he's got a custom water truck there too, with his own little logos on the side. Please survive, thank you. God, do I have enough speed to get up and over this? Yes, I do. Lovely. So this is, I don't know if like we've done the most impressive one first, if that makes sense. I mean, it looked very good in the pictures, and I mean, it rides absolutely fine. And again, I agree with what he said in the description about beginner to intermediate level riders. I think this will be a very, very good one to get you kind of into the flow of Supercross. There's no super difficult transitions at all. It's quite forgiving. Most of the lines is just a simple step on and step off again. You can mix things up if you want to. I would advise riding a 450 if you can, because I think the 250 might struggle on jumps like this one right here. Overall, really, really solid. And the only... Oh, he's even done a custom skydome as well. I almost completely missed that. So the only two things I can pick up on for like feedback, and I think we should do this for each one of these as well, is kind of pick on one or two things to improve on for the next track as well, is I would say inside ruts. So like this right here, it'd be nice if it was a little bit steeper. Maybe it dug down a little bit instead of just rising up from the ground. And then also you can see around the edges of the track, you can see off the edge of the map. So to try and make tracks feel a little bit more immersive, if that makes sense, you usually either want to have a big old tree line that wraps around the whole way so you can't see off the edges, or I think there's a way of extending the landscape outside the map, which I see a lot of the professional boys do. I haven't got the faintest idea how you go about doing that. But that is all the feedback I can really suggest right now. And we've even got little bits of rough coming in some of these corners, and really, really well put together track. No idea how long you spent on this, but for a first track as well, absolute W. So first track, really, really good start. Well done, OT. Okie dokie. So the next track we're moving on to here is Cole H has made this. It's Cole H Tracks SX. And let me read a little bit of his description as well. I think it's good to read through these. He's put, "Hello everyone, I'm Cole H and this is my first ever track creation. I've made bikes and kits in the past but wanted to expand and finally got to the point of making a track. When I was making this, I was going for something easy, fast and flowy that you can spin laps for hours on. Still have a lot to learn, especially with textures and masking. I hope you all enjoy it." And it looks like, by the sounds of it, he's going to go and create some more as well, which is a big old W. And then, of course, in the credits as well, he's put, "Thank you to Lynn's awesome YouTube vids with great explanation." Again, thank you very much for stroking the ego, good sir. And let's see how this rides. Now, hitting these jumps straight away, they do feel like Matt Robb's jump templates, so I think he's going to use that one from the MX Simulator forums. Like that we got a little bit of rough. There's not many people that like having rough, especially on their Supercross track, so it's really like refreshing to see actually people going out of their way to add that. So let's see how this goes. And again, first track creation by Cole here, which we would expect will be a common theme throughout this video. I think he needs to give himself a little bit more props than he's given himself for the masking. So what he's done is he's added like a little highlight to all of the bumps, and oh, that's dug down quite deep on the inside there. I need to try and hit that on one lap and see how it rides. He's added a little, as I say, highlight to the tops of the jumps and tops of the bumps, so you can work out where the takeoffs are on each one. So it's not like you're coming into landing and you've got no idea what's coming up. I actually like the roughness. It causes you to slow down a lot. I imagine if you try hitting that full force, the front end will probably get all kinds of sideways. That is a very nicely built route up the face of that single as well. What else are we working with here? Big old double in. Let's go step on, step off. Might be able to triple that. We shall see. I like the ruts that he's got built so far. They are not terrible at all. And I'm guessing by the looks of them, they appear to be all fairly free-handed. Looking at the bow placement, I'm not sure if it's where, like how he's lined some of the jumps up, but I'll try and pick out a different point later on. So let's try and get in this right. How does this ride? So I know that the super deep and narrow ruts on this game always ride a little bit funky, which is why a lot of the time they're quite rounded off in most tracks. Let's try this one here. That one actually rides really, really okay. Then big old finish line double stretch it. There we go. Up and over that. I think this ray is my favourite one. I'm not sure what it is about it. It's just been built really, really nicely. The braking bumps, they kick your back end up a little bit. Oh, so this is what I was going to suggest. If I turn around, you'll see what I have noticed straight away, is you can see where the bows are placed, the bow on, like, the bow that's closest to my face camera, there's a lot of, like, a big gap from there to the edge of the track, and then on the rest of the jumps it's pretty normal. So what I think's happened is when he was placing this double here, this one's been placed slightly further to the left. So even though the bows are in line with each other, it looks like the jumps aren't. So that is a nice, easy bit of feedback to go and implement into another track as well, is just going from, like, actual jump placement. And I mean, if you're using Photoshop or GIMP, you can just do like the tiniest little nudges left to right to the jumps to move them about. Let's get up and over this. I'm just going to hit the normal bit. I wonder, hang on, let's spin around. I wonder if you can use that wall jump to jump. And if I go outside, can I hit like a naughty triple or anything? Let's go outside. Yeah, yeet. Oh, you can. Whether that was intended or not, I don't know. But that's a nice little alternate line there. It's actually quite high, so it's not like you're gaining loads and loads of time compared to going roll double. But it could be a little different one if you're playing the track online with people. Hit a little naughty line over the top of their heads, go over these bumps, around here, and you can see that Cole here has built up quite a tree line around the outside, which is what I was referencing on the last track, where you almost try and like disguise the edges a little bit more. And what you can also do to hide that is just kind of build up some terrain around the outside of the track as well, so it almost looks like you're in a little bit of a ditch, I suppose. It just kind of takes away that sandboxy kind of feel of MX Bikes tracks, where it's like you have track and then you've got the abyss on the side. Also, like, he's experimented with the lighting a little bit, the ambient lighting. I don't know if it's the fog colour or just sky colour, whatever it is, but it's got like a bluish kind of greenish hue, so it gives the illusion of just being a different time of day. The actual like sun position, I think it's coming from that direction, just looking at my shadow. You can see like it's reflecting nice and bright, so I'd say the sun is a little bit on the lower side as well, which kind of gives maybe later in the day kind of feel, either early morning or late in the day, one of the two. And it's actually really solid all round. I mean, masking wise, again, you can see he hasn't just got like a straight line from on track to off track. There is a little bit of a gradient there and a fuzziness from dirt to grass, which is really good. Makes it blend in a lot more naturally. And he's even gone through the effort of adding colour to the ruts as well. So the ruts are a slightly different colour too, so you can make them out a lot easier. They're a lot darker. And again, really solid. We got some nice little pit area in there for everybody to line all their bikes up. Timing as well seems to be working absolutely fine, looking at the top left hand side of the screen. So very solid work all around. So I would say, in terms of progression onto the next track from here, I would probably say I'd try and make the braking bumps not as what's the word? Not as like samey. I feel like all the braking bumps are the same, so they end up being more like whoops rather than individual braking bumps. You see they're all very uniform. So try just messing around with them a little bit, and then also make sure that in the rhythm sections that all of your jumps line up with each other. Because like I mentioned, in the section kind of ahead to the left slightly, so to the left as I'm going up here, some of the jumps are slightly further to the left or right than the other ones. It just gives the illusion that the bows aren't placed in a straight line when I know they actually are. It's more the terrain. The ruts, big fan of the ruts. I think building them all by hand, it just gives them a nice, unique, I guess, non-uniform touch. They're all slightly different to each other, which is really nice, as all ruts should be. And again, really solid work. And I like that you've gone a little bit different with the lighting. I like this little kind of greeny, bluey hue the whole track has, something you don't see very often. So well done, Cole. On to track number 3. Okie dokie. Track number 3 that we've got here is Red Rum Supercross. Now, this is created by New School, and to give a little bit of read of this one, it's his very first track build again. So that's 3 for 3 here with brand new track creators. It took him a little bit under a week to get everything done. Isn't perfect, but find that it flows well and does have multiple line choices. Most of the testing was done on a 450, but should work on both 2 and 4 together. Plans on doing more tracks in the future. Let him know what he can do to improve for his next project. And he's also said, big old shout out to Linz and his line of track videos. Been interested in track building for a while, and his video gave me what I need to give it a go, which I absolutely love to see. There's a big old smile on my face, and we shall see how this track rides. Now, you remember on the very first track, I mentioned about track file sizes, how it's something that I need to work on as well with my tracks. This was quite a big download. This was over 700 meg. I think it's about 780 meg in total, which then, if you have to compare it to like GP tracks, for example, it's almost like double the file size. So that is something that I don't even know the best way. I'm maybe one of the more, I guess, top level guys that have a really good when it comes to optimization can do a video at some point on what affects file size the most, because at least riding around it right now, it is just a big supercross track. Now, there's not like a ridiculous amount of objects everywhere. But all I can imagine is maybe that the images and stuff on whether it's like bales or trees, they might be JPEG files rather than DDS files. That can save a lot in file sizes, because it's not like there's a million bales either. I mean, there's a good amount of bales, but they shouldn't. I don't think they should have 780, but I'm just as guilty of some of my tracks being very big in the file size. And you'll also notice something that New School's done very, very nicely here, which I mentioned on the first two tracks, is you cannot see the edge of the map. He's got a nice, he's got like a nice plane of trees around the outside, so it kind of covers it all up, and it just makes the track feel a little bit more enclosed. It doesn't feel like it's just plonked onto the top of an abyss, if you know what I mean. So he's done really, really well there. Now, I don't know, is this... I can't work out if this is Matt Rob's template that he's altered a little bit. It might be, and he's stretched them out a bunch, but it definitely feels unique. Like the jump faces and stuff, they feel a lot more mellow, a lot more spaced out, which will make it quite beginner/intermediate friendly. So far, it's got a really, really good flow to it. The Supercross triples are huge, so bear that in mind if you are a 250 rider. Just be a little bit careful there. Texturing, I don't think it's too bad at all as well. You can make out the faces of all the jumps. There's a little bit of differentiation here and there. You can see it's not just one flat colour. He's gone through and messed around with the masking a little bit to just add some differentiation here and there. I'm not sure. One thing I haven't even been paying attention to on these is how many start gates they have. I mean, I feel like 22 is the norm for Supercross tracks. That kind of makes sense to me. Oh, I saw 2 floating bales back there. We're going to have to knock a point off. Oh, don't even get me started. Someone pointed out, I think the last Arena Cross track I released, there was a floating bale, and then somehow I managed to put a bale under the ground in one of the corners that I must have just not seen. Obviously, if it's under the ground, then it was hidden in Blender at one point. But apparently, if you ride with enough of your road and keep riding around the same corner in the right place, the bale starts sticking through the ground. So thank God it hasn't got collisions, because that could have been a very interesting obstacle for people to hit. So yeah, we all make some mistakes as well. Let's get up over this. The tyre tap, that's nice as well. You can even tyre tap that in general. A couple different rhythm options in all these. The whoops are not too challenging. This second set I just went through here, much easier than the first set as well. But you notice how, even though all 3 that we've done so far, they've followed the same tutorials, they all ride different, they all feel different, and they all look different. And that is just the joy of having so many different track creators, which is why I encourage everybody at some point just to give track making a go and see what you can come up with. Some of you might be like me, where you think it's something that you might not particularly enjoy, and then once you get stuck into it, you waste nights of your life staying up until 5 AM because you're like, oh, I'll just one more tweak here, oh, I'll just change this jump a little bit, maybe I'll just get the texturing done on this part and then I'll go to bed. And you never go to bed. You keep going and going and going because you just get addicted to it so much. And I've had a little break now, so I feel like I've got out of the loop, out of the cycle, so it's time for me to get the creative juices flowing again. Because I've only got one more track to build on the Arena Cross side of things, and then I think I'm going to try and learn a brand new way of building tracks. So outside of Photoshop, there is a program called Dalen Leveler. It's about $50, but a lot of the current top track builders do use that. And it used to be a program used for creating like golf courses and things like that, and designing those, which the boys have kind of turned into their motocross track building program, and they talk to the owner of it as well when he creates updates now and then to make life easier for them. That's very, very cool. So I might try my hand at that, and then I could even bring some outdoors tracks your way, because yeah, my outdoor tracks are it's elevation mostly that I struggle with, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This has been a very nice track, nice and flowy. I like the ruts, that they're all unique as well. They all offer something a little bit different, not all the same as each other, not just perfect 180 degrees. Like he's added even just little things like having a wall jump at the end of the whoops there, so it's not just long whoop section and you're done, you're in the corner. It's just little bits here and there that keep you on your toes. I feel like there is multiple different line choices, but I don't think there's a huge difference in time stall. They all seem to work out to be quite similar to each other. It's very, very straightforward. I'd say the only difficult bit, if you're riding the 250, would be getting up and over the super triple. They are quite big, so I'm not really able to scrub them too much on the 450. Oh, nice. Actually, really, really solid. Like the jump transitions and stuff, I vibe with. The ruts feel pretty good. Some of them are a little bit on the shallow side. It would be nice to see if there's any way of getting them banked up a bit more, so making like more of an aggressive arc rather than a smooth slope. And then I also noticed some of the bow placement do a little bit of work, but by the looks of it, a lot of this is done just one by one, all by hand. So like just bits like here, See where it goes from there and it kind of veers off to the right. This is all stuff that can be worked on over time with more tracks, just working on the terrain placement so the bales don't have to veer from side to side, just making sure everything's all lined up. But again, another really, really solid first track, and just again more proud dad moments. So well done, New School, on track number 1. Hope to see some more from you in the future as well. And we'll now go on to track numero 4. Okay, track number 4, we have got the SCD Facility, which is So-Called Designs, and this is actually a twofer. We've got a 2-in-1 here. So we've got track number 1, which is on the left side over here. We've also got track number 2. So we'll have to give both of them a go. And they look like they've got very, very long and very challenging rhythm sections to them. So I'll be very intrigued to see how this rides. I love how he's got this kind of like eroded kind of effect on the downside of the berm. Just adding something a little bit extra, a little bit different. And I'm noticing, actually that might be intentional. So you can't kind of cut the track or go through the bales at all. Noticing, so if we have a little read right now, this again, his first facility with 2 tracks in it. And he's got, what we got, two tracks, one called the So-Called track and one called the Label track. Track comes with 22 gates and pits. Go fast, don't unalive. He says thank you to Red Rider for like asset PSDs, Resolute Kraken for track builder, Insane for 3D viewer, Linux for track tutorials, and GRD for help throughout the testing process. So my question is, which way does this track go before I even try and tackle it? So round here, round there. Okay, where I am right now is actually the right direction. So let's give both of these a go. So I thought I was only going to be doing 5 tracks throughout this, but it's actually going to be 6. So it might be a little bit of a longer video than usual, but I think it's only fair to give as many people as many props as that is going to be a huge quad into there. Holy, give as many people as many props as possible, because I've done a video on Nugget Boy's German track the other day, and then I kind of realised just how many people have started racing their first tracks now. So yeah, we'll see how this one rides. Right, quick little technical pause to go and absolutely destroy a frozen pizza. Now we're back to it. Let's see how this all goes then. So based off the first literally 2 rhythm sections I've hit, feels like there is some big boy lines around this track. So we'll find that out. The berm's are built up very, very high. So I think that's the reason. Just where you can cut down so hard. Ooh, jump into that one a little bit far. You just carry so much momentum into the straights. Ooh, okay, a little bit more of a challenging whoop section. Not like super, super difficult. The bike still tracks for it quite nicely, but you do have to give it a little bit of body English, so to speak. You've got to kind of fight it a little bit, move around. So triple, step over. Yes. Double. Oh, that was a lot steeper of a double than I expected it to be. And the bales have collisions as well. Okay, so you have to be very precise. Looks like the jump sends you quite high up in the air, so very, very like peaky jumps. And again, literally all 4 tracks that we've done so far within this video, every single one of them have ridden different. And that is the joy of having so many different track credits. So step on, step off. I'm just going to try and send it into this room and see what happens. No, I'm not. I feel like this track is also very, very visually appealing. A combination of the skybox, obviously you can see how bright it is over there, looks like the sun's shining through, combined with the lighting. I also, whether it's by chance or he's done it on purpose, see where the shadow is? That literally makes it feel like where the sun is coming from is where the sun is, like reflections-wise. Done a very good job on that. And I guess combined with the slightly, I guess, darker dirt, just gives it a very either sunrise or sunset kind of feel. And it's just very, very nice. It's very pretty. There's one bit here or there on the height map I think could be adjusted slightly in terms of its positioning. Other than that, the track, they ride really, really well. The jump faces are quite peaky, so it opens up a lot of different line choices. I can definitely triple into there. I'm not sure how this track would ride on a 250. It feels quite 450 dominant, especially with them on-offs. You do have to stretch them out a fair bit. But it's flying quite nicely. I probably should have been in 2nd gear, not 3rd. Over jump the quad. Did not mean to do that. It's alright, save it with a little triple and then step all the way over into the corner. Gonna go on. You could probably try and quad that whole thing. You'd have to hit the corner at a pretty high rate of speed. And you saw the first time around I tried doing that. The front end just said no. Not today, Chief. But there, it looks like there's some huge lines around here. Does every single bale have collisions? Have a look. Yes, they do. Okay, so yeah, he's So-Called is a very, very strict man. As I said when I was making those tutorials, it's completely up to you if you want to be really strict with your bales, or if you want people to have free reign and move through things. It's also cool seeing that he's added his own like bale textures as well. I'm pretty sure every single one of these is unique. I have noticed that they all well, almost all of them do seem to be in the ground ever so slightly. So that is something that could be worked on for the next set of tracks as well, just a small note there. And then the only other thing straight off the top of my head that I can think of is like this corner here, for example. You can see where the berm is in relation to the landing. It's quite far over here. You have to kind of go out of your way to hit it. I'm guessing maybe that's just where it had to be to make the start work, where the start is right now. That's just one of the things that just requires a little bit more like pre-planning before you go into things. But no, this first one, very, very lovely. Let's step over here. Does this have collisions too? Oh, it does! Oh! We have our second one here. Also noticing, sorry, that the timing gates all work as they should do, working perfectly. I think I'm going the wrong way. Let's try hitting it from this direction. It feels a little bit steep. Not too sure. I mean, we'll find out in a second when we hit some of these jump faces. No, this is definitely the wrong way. Holy. Unless he intended you to go quad through the loops, which I don't think he did. So let's spin her around. Some big old berms, which open up huge rhythms. You can so quad into there as well. I'm not sure if it's just like 450 things or if there'd be big lines on the 250s as well. And or if that's even intentional. Like maybe he didn't intend on having such big rhythms going into all these sections. Let's go over that, and that, triple, gonna go up short, And what happens is when you have jump faces that are like this, both jump faces and landings that are very, very sharp or just very peaky, it makes the whole difficulty of the track that much more difficult. You've got to be so much more precise. You can't really get away with coming up short or over jumping things as much as you can do on more shallower jumps, which I don't mind too much. I know some of the more beginner to intermediate level riders probably wouldn't be a big fan of that, but then I suppose we do have that. It's worth having tracks for all skill levels, and no point just having it for one set or the other. What's this swoop section like? Fairly straightforward again. They're quite deep, so it's easy to get a bad run if you don't get on top of them well, but it's been okay. Can we quad in here? Oh, I saw it come up a little bit short again, straight over the bars. I don't even know if that's meant to be done that way. Let me hit it one more time and have a look. Try keeping it in second gear. All the way round. Nah, I gotta go a little bit too fast. It is definitely quadable. It's just very, very precise. If I go and look at the landing, you can see just how steep that landing is. So you have such a small pocket of space to land within. But the line is there. It's definitely a viable option. I'll try and experiment with some of these big lines. I just tried quadding all the way up and over that. I reckon you can throw some triples in here as well. What I will say is where the jumps are so tall, it makes it very, very easy to get back into a rhythm if you mess it up, because obviously the jumps just send you so high. So if you do mess up, you haven't just got to double your way through the entire section. You can, if you want to, just get back into some triples. Let's try a step in over. Not too sure about what the far side is through that rhythm there. Oh, and the front end went as well on the exit of that berm. Okay. This is a lot different to all the other ones I've done so far in how it's been built. I want to try and hit this quad one last time, just for the culture, just to say that I gave it a good shot. Big quad guy, go on downside it nice. Oh no, that is a really, really harsh transition. So that it could be something to work on. I mean, he might not even meant for that to be the line, which is why the transition is like that. If I slow it right down, I think I'd downside this pretty nicely. You can see because it's just such a steep landing of this jump and take off for the next. I don't think I could have got it much better than that. And you see my front tyre actually pre-jumped because of how much it compressed on the landing. So that could just be something. It's just trying to make them transitions not as brutal, if that makes sense. So just downside in one, taking off another, make it not quite as much of a V, make it nice and smooth U shape. Other than that, the track's really nice. It looks very, very pretty. And then I guess the only two things is the jump transitions. Like this section here is absolutely fine. Like it's nice and smooth off each and every jump. So maybe it just needs kind of spreading across all of the rhythm sections. Other than that, it's more so just the barrel placement could do with a little bit of work. But really, really fun and enjoyable track so far overall. Is this? No, I don't think this is the same skybox I use, but very, very similar. It looks really, really pretty. But there you go. That is track number 4 and 5, which I didn't even mean to do another 2. So now we'll go on to the final one. Now, our final track that we have for you today is Woodlands AX. This is created by Mr. B. Lupton, 701, and says this is the first track I created. It's an arena cross track, but instead of being placed in an arena, it's in the woods. Understandable, because there's not, I don't know if there's any public arena assets going around at the moment. It has 16 gates and has variable lines for both 250 or 450. And he has put a little thank you to your boy for the video tutorials in the comments. So let's see how this one rides. Noticing a little bit of a floating bow issue going on in that berm right there, but as we know, bows are an absolute pain in the booty cheeks to place. So we'll see how she rides. I'm guessing, yeah, I'm just looking at the track map, just making sure that I'm going the right way. Big, you could 100% go quad into that river there. We've got a little inside rut here, or we go around the outside in the berm. It is very small and very narrow, which I think when it comes to arena cross tracks in this game, it is the right way of doing it. I think that because of the way the game works, people do want to go really, really fast everywhere. But it's nice when you get forced to check up. I'm on the 450 right now, which is probably a poor choice for this style of track. I would definitely recommend riding something a little bit smaller. As you can see, very small, very simple as well. It uses the same sort of track layout as most of the UK arena cross tracks as well, just like a very simple extended U shape on the track map. Let's go around here. I'll say the inside ruts might need a tiny bit of work. They are just more banks at the moment. So like this rut that you see here in front of you it kind of stops you from really railing the berm. So it might have been better off to be slightly further on the inside and then just a little bit more of an arch to it. So at the moment, instead of the ruts kind of being cut like this, where you can get like in them, they're more flat like that, so you ride on top of them, whereas if they're arched, you can kind of get in them and rail round. So just the difference between a rut shape being like that and being like that makes all the difference. That's probably the worst way of trying to show it ever. But if you are doing stuff by hand in Photoshop, it can be very, very difficult to do so. Lots of raising and lowering, like on the higher parts of the ruts, or lowering it on the inside to get your desired results. That all comes with time and it all comes with practice. So we're not going to hate on him too much. There is a lot of trees around the outside on this map. To the point where, actually, no, I like what he's done with the skybox. The skybox has trees dotted around, and it blends in. So I thought they were models at first, but I actually really like that he's done that. It all blends in together, and this is what I was mentioning about it doesn't feel like I'm just on an open plain. It feels like in this enclosed little foresty area. He's done a very, very good job of that. Let me see if I can quad into here. Quad god? Oh, I've fived. I have fived and done a cheeky little front flip, and we carry on riding. I think if you hit that corner well enough, if you really apex it to perfection, you might be able to like 6. You might even be able to like 7 the entire section. That jump is absolutely huge, absolutely ridiculous. Do the bows have collisions? No collisions on the bows, so nice and easy for newbies as well. You can get a little bit out of shape if you want to. Oh, I come up a little bit short on the 6. That absolutely bounces you to the moon, and we're dead. So we've got a variety of objects dotted around. We've got the MXB mods bows. We've got some Red Rider like inside corner markers. We've got the old water tower here. We've got some bleachers as well dotted around. So it's nice. It feels like a good enclosed space. And again, for a first track, you've only got to give people a round of applause. Like, it's so difficult to do this. And the on-track masking as well, again, only just realising, we've done so many now, looks really, really good. It generally looks like you've got just it's either just been freshly graded and there's only a couple of tyre marks dotted around, and it's really impressive because, in my opinion, when you're first starting off with the track building side of things, the masking and getting your on-track stuff to look good as well as off-track, you see he's got a nice blend of on and off here. That's probably the hardest thing to do. Maybe it's just because I'm not very good at Photoshop, and the way that you kind of blend things together, the skills and tools that you need to do that, they're kind of beyond me. I think that just comes with depending how good you are in certain tools. Like if you're someone, I've seen a few people that start making tracks, they've already made like gear and bikes and things like that in the game, so they're already very like hands-on or intuitively know how Photoshop works, so they can use them same techniques, just apply it in a slightly different way, and you get a very, very lovely looking set of textures on your tracks. So I'm very, very pleased with what I've seen today, genuinely. It's so nice and so refreshing seeing a whole bunch of new creators get into track building. And if people only build one, that's fine, that's cool, they've given it a go, and I think if anything else, they'll have more of a level of respect for what the top tier guys do. And maybe this has kickstarted some people's new hobby. Maybe they're a little bit of a track building addict now, and they're going to go and just improve time and time again and release better and better tracks for us. And whichever one of those two outcomes it is, it's only positive for the community. So thank you everybody for all of the kind words, and I'm glad that people are finding the tutorial videos very, very helpful. And hey, you make me smile at the end of the day by putting my name in your posts. So feel free to continue doing so, and maybe at some point we'll, in another couple of weeks or so, once there's been a new round of tracks been uploaded, I can cover them again and see people's first tracks, or if they're the same people, so they've progressed from track 1 to track 2. And don't just keep stroking my ego, please. I love seeing my name in all of the posts. So thank you very much. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this. If you did, please do drop a cheeky little like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
I'm working hard, I'm sacrificing my life, I'm sacrificing my mind, I'm sacrificing my sanity, but most importantly, I'm sacrificing my time. Boy, I feel fine, I feel like I am a king. Honestly, I can't complain, even with faith that's the size of a grain of some salt, I will still move a mountain and do what I want.